I'm beautiful, lovely gamers. My name is Jonal. I said I was going to do some more Overwatch content, so here it is. I am coaching on YouTube Live. I've been coaching a lot of people privately, as I've done for many years. It's still, as I talked about in my why I quit coaching teams competitively, I still talked about that I still enjoy coaching privately. So I still do that, and somebody in the Discord server asked if they could get coached, and I said, yeah, sure, why not? So this is the first coaching in a very long while. I think this game is 27:35 from what I understood from the person submitting. If you want to submit your own videos for coaching, Discord server, link down in the description. There's a channel called Coaching Submission. There's a pinned comment that explains how you can submit your stuff, and you can also just look at what other people do. So this is a Genji, Mei, and Junkrat game. It's about, mid to high plat. He's been stuck in platinum for quite a long while. He wanna hit diamond, and I found it to be quite interesting. There's a lot of just like the common mistakes from platinum players being made that really keeps people in that elo hell. So I tried to break that down in this game. Of course, if you like this type of content, like on the video, a comment, subscribe to the channel, always greatly appreciated. Tell me if you want to see more Overwatch content. I have mainly been doing other games, but if you want to see more Overwatch content, tell me down below what you want to see. And of course, as always, if you want to hire me as a private coach, 50 euros for a 2-hour session, hit me up on our Discord server, link down in the description. Besides that, I'll head over to me from the future. Okay, so let's start here. We're just running offense on Volsky in this room. We can see kind of what we're already playing with here. We have a, a standard Ryan Zarya combo. We have a Mercy and an Ana, Genji and Hanzo. That's actually a pretty good team composition. You have nice damage from the Hanzo. You have a Ryan Zarya that can push in and fight and chokes. You have an Ana and Mercy, plenty of healing, nano damage boost for the Hanzo or the Genji, right? Of course, if this was a very high elo, right now we're talking like if everyone plays perfectly, right? This is actually a really good team comp. The opposing side is playing like really heavy damage. Also, Mercy and Ana's damage boost, and they have nano and nade and sleep and stuff like that. They have a Bastion and a Junkrat and a Roadhog, and then an Orisa to cover it. The one thing then to think about, when you face a team comp like this, is of course, depending on how the Hog is playing, he can a lot of time get harassed if he's not playing behind his Orisa. And the easiest weak point here is just to break the Orisa shield and then force the Bastion to move, right? That's like the easiest thing. As a Genji player right now, we should be taking a look at, they have a Bastion that we can potentially harass and be annoying at, not full on dive him, but if we can climb up at high ground, shoot down at him, or we can be on the low gun and climb up and down and harass him. Same with the Orisa, they're not really scary. We can bully the Hog for easy ult charge. We can help, of course, break the shield if necessarily. And depending on how the Junkrat is positioned, he's a lot of time somewhat of a target that we can do, because we can actually poke him quite easy at ranges where he can't use his C4 and then dive in and then finish him off, right? So we have some pretty good tactics. It can actually be a really nice game for him. First thing, comment. I know this is stuff that is for some people unnecessary for me to comment on, but the fact that he starts way behind here and then runs out of the door this late, he could already be here with the Hanzo, get a climb up and potentially get some shots in the choke already. And it's really important for players, even in this low elo, to kind of keep themselves active from the beginning, because you want to just build that blade fast, right? So start at the door, so when it opens you can get out fast and start immediately doing damage, right? Especially with the ultimate charge nerfs. That's really important. Here we see like first mistake. Immediately just as a Genji player stacks into a choke point when you could rather start clearing your left and start playing this left angle here. If they had set up in the choke, you coming from this would be your left, right? Their right side, right? Can help you harass from that angle, and of course you can also use the window. And not running through the chokes avoids nades and spam and stuff like that. So immediately kind of like smooth brain Genji play, just like Wing through the choke point with your tank. That's not really your job. Your job is to off angle. That's why you have that mobility. And again, if you don't off angle with Genji, you're just useless, because you're just a worse soldier, McCree, Hanzo, whatever, because you don't have the damage. The whole point of Genji is to off angle so you can use the weak shurikens that you have, but you get so much effect out of them because of your mobility. And then you can dive in to finish off targets, and you can dash with shields and stuff like that, right? So this is not really the greatest. You're gonna stand here, right? This doesn't really give you a lot. They already gave a lot of space in the choke point, so you could already have started to kind of start moving over here Of course, watch out from your left side, but you could already start moving over here. And then you could start pressuring that. And you can actually see how effective that would have been. And also normally what you should have done, again, because your team want to push through the choke. So you want to off angle on the left side here. It's difficult to off angle from the right side when they have this setup, right? But then you can start off angling here, right? There's a Ana that's all alone the point. There's a Hog you can harass. You can help break down the shield and start harassing the people here. And essentially like a Genji positioned right here can reach everyone and harass everyone, but it's also completely safe because the cover, the drop, and his team on his right side, which would normally drag all the attention, but also would be the position of your supports. So like being positioned here would be like an incredible power move for you as a Genji player, because you can just sit there and you can just be annoying and just deal a lot of damage and build up a blade. Again, worst case scenario, you know, but you only build the blade. AFKing, nice, just what I like to see, right? Harass this Hog, right? This is like, again, big, like low elo mistake. Oh, I gotta focus on that Bastion, right? No, you don't. Just bully this guy, get this guy down, right? Kill this, and I'm pretty sure maybe you killed your Mercy. I'm not sure if she followed you, but yeah. Okay, no, she just got hooked. Okay, but still, like, bully this Hog and build up the blade, right? So he can't stand here and be annoying. Like, fuck this Bastion, and if you push this, it's gonna be really bad, right? Like, you don't want to be confined into small rooms. Again, you want to wall climb, be able to double jump around. Like, pushing into small rooms like this is really, really bad, especially when you use your dash. Again, you're only supposed to use your dash if you're 90% sure you can get the kill, or you're using it to escape, or reposition, as I like to call it. If not, then you're wasting your dash, and you're playing like a silver, right? So don't just burn your dash like an idiot. Use it to dive in on specific targets. It's free damage, especially with a melee. It's free damage, and on top of that, it is it bypasses all shields, right? So it's unblockable. So if you have 50-meter range, you can always deal 80 damage with a dash and a melee. So that's like something to always be aware of. That's the power of Swift Strike. But you don't. It's not a damage ability, and it's not a I'm gonna transport myself closer so I can hit my right clicks on this tank that has healing on them, right? Like that's not the point of a Swift Strike. You have a Junkrat position here. You swapped, so you lost the 27% on your blade. If you'd been more active and harassing the Hog, you could probably have been closer to at least 40 or 45 by just harassing the Hog instead of suiciding there, which would have been huge, right? Because Dragon Blade, then you could Dragon Bladed, you could have gotten nano damage, and you could potentially start wiping up some of the opposing side, right? Because they have bad positioning, so like there's 3 kills on the map. But you swap to Junkrat, okay, fair enough. You can see there's pressure on your left side here. You gotta dislodge that before you start moving, because if not, then you're gonna push in and you're gonna get hit from the flank. So your job is, to a certain extent now, to try to dislodge this Hog first. He's all alone up here, and if his supports flies in to heal him, they just die, right? So the only one that can actually help him here is the Ana. And then when you can get into position, you want to bomb down the shield and just spam the Bastion. The Bastion will move, you can spam the Bastion some more, and you can just keep on playing like that at range. You can just keep like using cover and lob nades at the shield. It's really, really easy. Here you go inside of here, and then you sit here and you face tank. You don't have to peek people when you're playing Junkrat. You can just launch the nades across from like way down here. You don't even need to push it. You can just sit back there and launch nades. You end up in a choke point and you just get hit by your own nades and then you die, which sucks. But still, you are 24% to 25% actually on your tire, which is at least something. So, okay, we're starting to push towards an ultimate. But once again, notice how Phantom Blade always just pushes. That's the only thing he does. He just W's. He always just pushes. That's the only thing he does. See here. Your team is dead. You only have an Ana and you have a Ryan over here who's staggering himself like an idiot, right? So this guy's gonna stagger, which sucks. Your Sari is staggered. Your Ana is here. So, like, what are you doing here, right? Like, you push in here, you might get a tick, and then you wipe, and then you are staggered because your tanks will push in alone, and it'll just be a pain. So, like, at this point, you just want to get into a position where you can maybe sit back very safely, have your concussive mines, like, back out, and just lob nades instead of just rushing here, right? You can see, right, just launching a nade or two, just kind of, just running, right, pushing into the choke point, get immediately hit by a nade, right? And this is really bad, right? Because your Mercy popped Valk, right? And there's only 4 of you, and you don't have any tanks. And without tanks, you can't claim the point. So this is complete waste of time. At least you get a Riptire out of it, and you're gonna die to it. On top of that, remember that it's okay to use your abilities to leave spawn, but if you don't have them for team fights, like, so if you burn both concussive nades out of spawn, you better like be playing in a position where you're not gonna need them. So just wasting your ability out from spawn is really no, AFK again. Oh, he swaps to Mei. So you swap from Genji when you were like what, like 30 blade, 30% on blade ish. Here you were like 40 something on Riptire, and now you go Mei, and it's just like, what are you doing here? Like you're constantly just swapping. You're never building any ults here, so your ult economy is just hurting, and then you're like really slowly stopping from time to time. Right? Again, Mei, you have a right click, so you can just stop peeking and you can start harassing this hog and start building up your blizzard because you just swapped, so you're really out of abilities here. Okay, you're still sitting in choke, right? You can sit far back and just harass with your ice spikes. You're gonna wall that and then you're gonna try to push in. Once again, you haven't dislodged the hog, so here you should die. This guy should hear you run and just hook you and kill you. Right? So does he do that? No, he doesn't see you because he's a bot. Not sure what you were trying to do there. If you were trying to body block his hook or something, doing like a grandmaster play, but then you stayed in the ice for too long, and now you died, and you got 13% from passive building your ultimate. You did like no damage that entire life. Once again, you're now staggered because you just rushed in in front of your tanks. You're not a tank, so don't push in. Like, you have to sit back and harass and dislodge that hog by harassing him, and then like inching your way through and then making space for your tanks. Like, you can't just sit there and wait for your tanks to push, because if you don't deal damage, the enemy team won't move allowing your tanks to push. And if you just rush in, then you just die, and then you don't have damage, and then your tanks can't push, and you just keep losing. You gotta play around your team. You make space for your tanks by dealing damage and being threatening. Sitting back is not gonna help, and running in solo is not gonna help, and wasting all your abilities from spawn is especially not gonna help. So here you're gonna sit, okay, you're gonna sit and watch, then break your shield. Comment on Rhyme players, guys, please don't just sit up with your shield. Like, as a Rhyme player, don't waste your shield like this. You sit here, you hug this wall, then you push to here, then you play here, then you dislodge this guy, push, then you can shield here to get to this wall, where you can recover your, then you can run along this wall while recovering your shield, and then you can jump in here, swing your hammer, put up your shield, swing your hammer, put up your shield, right? Don't sit far back and do nothing with your shield and just block, like, damage to block damage. Just a comment on Rhyme players. But you as a Mei player should be up here, like, you can just go up here and then, like, drop a wall, like here, and just wall him. Or here, if your team can push. Or you can push here and then rush the hog, or something. And again, the hog can't really do a lot, because every time you see him telegraph his hook, you can just ice cube, block the hook, and then un-ice cube, just like again, you can deflect it. So, like, this is, you do nothing. You're not building much, that's not doing anything. Okay, immediately peeks the Orisa, immediately get hooked, somehow survives, that's huge. Okay, because your Zarya saved your ass, you didn't die. And you managed to, what can I say, get out of that just fine. Get a kill, okay, nice. And then you get slapped because you're running in a straight line. Fat shatter, fat grab. And this is very important to notice as a player. It is incredibly important to note that you didn't win that team fight. Your team won you that team fight by like nano Ryan jump shattering with a graviton. That's what won you that team fight. And that's really, really important to notice, because that is an improvement process. Like, oh, my plays were okay. Because like that way you get stuck in elo hell, right? My plays were okay, we won the team fight, guys. But you didn't. Like, you have currently, from the start of this game, there's been nothing that's been done. You have not been harassing a lot. Like, you've been a lot of time like AFKing, or not shooting shields, or not shooting tanks, but you can see them. You always want to deal damage. Always want to deal damage in Overwatch. There's no exception to that rule. Just keep dealing damage, keep building ultimate shots, and removing their resources, their heals and shit. Okay? That's what you always want to do. And then you want to, that way you want to try to harass space. If they're in space where you can harass them, then you want to harass them and be annoying. That's what you always want to do, and you haven't been doing that. You've just been rushing and dying, swapping when you're close to half to your ultimate, rushing and dying, swapping, rushing and dying, swapping. And it's okay that you have a large hero pool and you like having a large hero pool, but what you have to remember in Overwatch is that it's so, like in most games like the League and Valorant and other games that has these hero mechanics, it is more important that you're good on the heroes you play instead of being like, master a few of them instead of being like, you know, somebody that touches all the agents and all the heroes but has no mastery of any of them. Because that way you will rank up by being really good on a subset of heroes. And then you can rather expand your hero pool when you master some of the others. So you gotta pick a couple, like for example Genji, maybe Junkrat, maybe a Hanzo or McCree, and then you're like, okay, this is like my subset of heroes, right? And then you start focusing on, like, I'll start focusing on Genji and, you know, playing Hanzo on a couple of maps where Hanzo's really good, and maybe Junkrat on a couple of other maps, right? That's kind of how you want to play it. Here you're going to push this hog, which is really risky. I also want to say, really, thing that annoys me about, yeah, this is kind of like an aim thing. Stop holding down your fire button. And I can see you're holding down because you're firing at max fire speed here. Click each shot so you don't overshoot. You can see here how, and I'll slow down because you can see how close you are to actually hitting that, some of these shots. But you're holding down the fire button. This was way not where I wanted. Here we go. Oh, not here either. It's when you fight the hog, you're gonna hit the Orisa, who's just gonna stand still. Okay, so you missed that barely. And then notice here, you hit this. Okay, nice. He's also a pretty big target, right? You could just put your... He's jumping like this, like this, like this. You could just pull it like here and make him drop into it by timing it correctly. But notice how close some of these shots are. That was like right under his foot. And then this one was like barely hit him. And then this one barely hit him, right? You're missing some of these shots by like thin margins. But if you just spend like a millisecond more to actually aim, then you will hit him. Stop holding down your fire button. It's just gonna make you miss. You're not a professional player. You can't fire at maximum fire rate. And even majority of pro players click each shot. They just click really fast. But they click each shot. They just click at maximum fire rate, approximately. But even the best players need to slow down and hit their shots sometimes because we're not human aimbots. Here you're gonna freeze the hog, and he's gonna die, and you're gonna go into... Okay. Buddy? Okay, wait. Okay, so you lost your Ryan. So this push was already lost, right? And you build Blizzards, so that's fine. So now you just want to... You lost your Ryan, you build Blizzards, and what you want to do is you just want to sit here and make sure that they maybe not have it, maybe they don't have a shield, maybe this hog can't push forward, you just don't want to die. Okay, you draw from the high ground. There's not really any reason for you to draw from this high ground. You're shooting at the shield. You freeze this hog. Okay, fair enough. You could still wall to a high ground if you wanted to be safe. You cube nothing. Like the rib tire gets pulled, and you cube what seems to be the hog preemptively or something like that. I have no clue. And then you uncube. So now the rib tire can kill you if you want to. Then you go over here and you have a pharmacy that's deep, and you see the Bastion on the right side. And the Mercy on the low ground, who is anti, and you know she's anti. Why are you not shooting either of these? Instead, you start to like put up a wall and like trying to line up your wall to lift up the Bastion, but the Bastion is right there. He's not shielded, so just shoot him. And then an Ana just walks out in the middle of the site. I really don't understand what's the point of this. And again, the big issue on top of all of this is like, notice how easy it would be to just drop a Blizzard here and win this. The issue is, currently, you don't really have a Ryan here, so you have to like, you had to play on the fact that your Zarya would push in here and be able to do stuff, and you wouldn't really have damage or follow-up on it. So like, this entire push, no matter really what you do here, is kind of useless because they're better spawns than you, and you don't have your, like, all your tanks. So like, who's gonna fight on point for you, right? So like, even if you shot him and did everything perfectly, you chose to fight at like the worst moment ever. Now you lost your Pharah, now you lost your Mercy. You're gonna just run out in front of the entire enemy team and drop a Blizzard. But what did you just lose? You just lost 2 of your players. You can freeze the entire enemy team. They're on high ground. You're not gonna get them. You're not gonna be able to kill all of them, and they don't need to beat you. They just need to stay on a point for long enough, and you don't have damage to remove them fast enough. And then the team comes back. Like, you're fighting. This is such a low elo thing. You're fighting when there's nothing to win. Like, you're fighting over nothing. You don't have a win condition. You don't have the players. So you back up. You don't back into your spawn. You sit on your high ground. You harass the enemy team. Remove their shield. Remove their resources. That's great. You sit there and you be annoying and you don't fucking die. You sit there and you be annoying and then you're waiting for an opportunity. You're making sure the enemy team is limited to where they're playing. You're starting to mentally like note where people are so you know where to drop your blizzard. And then when your team is there, then you can start thinking about pushing in here and doing stuff. Right, see? Yeah, great. We froze people. We don't even have damage to break the shield. So what does it matter? On top of that, your blizzard didn't get anybody because you dropped it here instead of dropping it under the bridge. So your blizzard didn't really do anything. Remember, essentially, aim your blizzard for the enemy team, for the people that you want to freeze. If you want to freeze a couple people, throw the blizzard like in their face. The little ball thing, snowball I think it's called. Throw it in their face and then they will get frozen and then everything is great because it'll be hard to get away. Okay. So you're 2 minutes left, so this is going to be interesting. You're going to start to Genji. Okay. So once again, I think this is a great team comp for Genji to play against. I think also Genji is really good on second point. So this can be quite interesting. You can do a lot of nice stuff here. You're going to take this high ground. And once again, harass this guy. Like, oh my god. So, okay, so here's another really nice exercise. Ask yourself, if the enemy team hadn't sucked, would I have died here? And I would say, one, not, again, just shoot him. It's not hard to shoot him. Just shoot him. It's not, just shoot him, make him fuck off, and then you can play. And then it's real charge, or you kill him. Either one, you win, right? But if he hadn't sucked, would he have hooked you when you jump in front of him while reloading with no shield and nothing? It's like your jump is like boing, like a very predictable arch. Would he have hooked you if he didn't suck? He would. You would have died, and what would have happened? You would have to respawn, run back, then your team would have died, then there's a big stagger fest, right? So just harass this guy, get your ultimate, and then start pushing in, okay? You don't need to just tunnel vision. The whole Genji's role is not kill Bastion. That's not what he is. Genji's role is to off angle, look for kills, deal a lot of damage. That's your job. And then you always build Dragon Blade, right? Here you dash the Bastion. This can be great if you play correctly. If you kind of jump around him and play around him, this can be amazing. It seems like you do. You're kind of harassing. You kind of going down. You can harass him for much longer though. Like you were not that much in danger there. You didn't need to, like here, you hit some shots. He immediately loses focus. You don't need to stop there and reload. You had plenty of ammo. You hit him a couple times. He didn't look at you here. If you look at how his camera looks, look where he points his gun, right? That's his back. He never looked at you, right? But this is really great. This is huge. This is like really, really, really nice. And don't dash into the rooms. Again, you use dash to finish off people. The Bastion wasn't even close to dying, right? You were sitting and he were never shooting at your team. He was constantly like looking at you, dealing no damage, and you were building up your blade. You were doing great. You're doing so good. And then, like you dashed through him and then you climbed up, so that's fine. You didn't really go for the kill, but you were kind of like, you dashed there to get close to him and so on and so forth. So that's more of like a high elo way of using Swift Strike. So that's fine. You kind of closed the gap and you were on him all the time and constantly harassing and applying pressure. Everything is great. Your team is pushing in behind you. He's not doing fuck all because he's constantly being harassed by this Genji. It's really nice. And that's all. Then you just don't just sit here. Notice how, because it's open, notice how powerful it is. He can't do anything. And then immediately you dash into a small room and just die. Because you can't move inside a small room. It's like, oh, he's right there. Then we just lock him down and nuke you. Right? And now you are not alive. And the team is struggling to do anything, right? So now they lose to the hog, and they lose here, and they lose here, right? And then you lose all their players. You are AFKing here, which is not very good. You should be already up there harassing and shooting shurikens. There's a big fat hog that's always out of position and never have cover. So just fucking harass the living shit out of this guy. Just don't dash him. Oh my god. You're so crazy. Don't dash him. Like, you don't need to. Like, what is dash gonna give you? You're just gonna push closer to the guy with a shotgun. You're literally jumping in and trying to get him to kill you. Just harass him with your primary fire. Sit back and chill. You have 45 seconds. If you die now, you're screwed. Okay? And you still don't have blade. But keep harassing the hog. Look how big and fat and ugly it is. And just stop holding down your fire button. If you just don't hold down your fire button here, you hit so many shots. Notice this. Notice how easy he is to hit. Notice how much... Okay, you reload here. Blah, 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 blah. Can we get to the point that I want to point out? And then that was a little bit too much left of him. You immediately fire at max fire rate, so you climb here. Immediately fire at the ground before you could even aim at him. Then you aimed at him, and then he moved out of your crosshairs, then you shot. Then you barely hit him on the ground, and then you had him in the crosshair, but because you're firing at max speeds, it's like you miss, lock onto him, you don't shoot because you're in between a burst of rounds. You go off him, you shoot because you're off rhythm. You lock onto him, you lose him, you barely hit him, you lose him, right? And then you constantly keep staggering your aim. Just slow down. You see the green dot over your enemy, you click the button. You see the green dot over the enemy, you click the button. That's how you hit these shots. It's so easy for you to do. Anyone can do it. It's just that you're holding down your fire button, not thinking about where to shoot. Click when you think you can hit your target. And if you have to half your firing speed, or even like, but even more, I rather want you to always hit your shots than constantly keep missing like this. It's so, also because it's inconsistent. Like you never know as a player, like when you are like on target. You never know. And you never know, like, if you dive somebody, that you have a certain amount of damage. Like, oh, I'll dive this guy, and I might deal enough damage to kill him. Or, because I'm constantly holding down the fire button, and I'm so inconsistent because of it, I might hit like 2 shurikens in just, like, in like a half an hour, right? Like, you don't know, because you're so inconsistent. Rather be like, I know I can hit a certain amount of shurikens in a certain amount of time. Okay, then I know my damage output. I know what I can do here. I know what I can deliver. And then you do that through your matches, and your aim will also improve. You get rezzed, you're 81%, you already burned your nano, your tank is down. You borrowed 2 players, this is the big play. So I kind of believe that was a really nice headshot. So okay, nice, that was actually pretty fucking clean. The tracer comes from your right side, you dive the tracer, you go for the mercy instead, you get a frag there. You dive the ball so he can run away from you, huge. Once again, the dash works exactly the same as a blade as it would do on a normal dash. You think you can kill him? Okay, dash him. If dashing him is gonna make you kill him. But if he's already in your face, you don't need to dash him, bro. Just swing at him with your blade. You don't need to dash at that point. Okay, then you're gonna do that. The Moira is gonna try to suck. And there's a bunch of cleanup here. And once again, I want to point out that, and this is so important, your team won you that fight. Okay, you died from the Riptire because you were on the low ground in the middle of everything with no cover, not off-angling for your team. And that got you killed. You didn't have Blade. Your Pharaoh got 2 kills with a barrage. You got rezzed, and you managed to come back in there and pull the Blade and help beat people up. But once again, a lot of that kills was also your Sorry dealing a shit ton of damage. So it's really important to note when you're playing good and when you're playing bad, and when your team is doing a lot of the heavy lifting. And in this game, your team did majority of the heavy lifting, at least on the offensive side. Stop just running in. Stop harassing people that's right in front of you. Like, you shouldn't focus on one specific player, on one specific enemy. Focus on the enemy team. It's about beating all of them, not one single. It's not like we kill the Bastion and you will immediately just win the match. You gotta also kill the Hog and the Orisa and the Mercy and the Junkrat and the Jonal. Go for whoever is easiest of those, because the whole point is to get numbers over them, right? You kill the Hog, they don't have a Hog anymore. It's a 5v6. You kill the Orisa, it's a 4v6. And then you kill the Bastion because they have no tanks, right? Like if there's 3 kills, take the 3 kills, right? You don't need to shatter 2k, necros, ghost dash through the entire enemy team. Slow down your aim. Don't hold down your fire button. Slow down your aim. Think about your positioning. Don't run headless after your team. Off angle from them. Position yourself to the side of your team so you're not just clumped up with them. So also you can get really powerful angles. And make sure that you survive. If you are dead, the carry is dead. And the thing that you want to focus on is you carrying this match. And if you're dead, you can't carry shit. So you gotta stay alive. You gotta think about number 1, which is yourself. Think about yourself. I gotta play good. Like, it doesn't matter really. I have to play well. And if your team flames you, you know what we do with those. You open, you go here, you hit social. You go to your, I'm not in a group, right? But you go on the enemy team, or on your team, and then you hit mute. Either text shadow, voice shadow, whatever. You mute the players that are toxic, and then you ignore them because they don't know what they're talking about because they're fucking noobs. Okay? Outside of that, that's the review of this game. And over to me from the future. Now, thank you, me from the past. I hope that you guys really did like this type of video. If you did, as always, liking, commenting, all that is greatly appreciated. Thank you for regulars for being brave enough to submit stuff for coaching, because it's always scary to get people to judge you. Of course, if you want to hire me as a private coach, you know the deal. 50 euros 2-hour session, link in description to my Discord server where you just send me a DM and we'll set something up. Doesn't matter what hero, doesn't matter what elo or what platform. I can help you rank up and improve and get better at the game. But besides that, I hope you had a lovely experience. It's actually kind of fun being back to some Overwatch content. So I hope that you enjoyed it as much as I enjoy making it. Please remember to stay care of the positive. I love you guys very much. Remember to tell somebody that you love them. And my name has been Jonal, and you guys keep the enemy in your crosshair.